Can't Escape the Magic by Art Fox. Chapter 2. Cinna was shoved in the carriage and the man clambered in behind. "Please, sir! My mother!" "Silence! Your mother is gone. Your home is gone. I am the only thing you have left." The man tugged his turban off. Pale silver hair twisted out and fell about his head. "I am Fatima. You will call me Master Fatima." Cinna shivered at the cold eyes the man had, and the sneer on his thin lips. "Your mother called you Cinna. Is that your name?" "Yes, sir." The man stared at the boy. His gaze was hard and disquieting. Cinna fidgeted under the hard stare for a moment until it occurred to him what the man wanted. Yes, Master Fatima." The man relaxed a bit. "I see. Were you named after anyone?" "I don't think so." "I knew a man once with a name like yours. He had violet hair, too. Perhaps he was your father." Fatima looked at the passing scenery out of the carriage window. "Really? What was he like? Where is he now? What was his name?" "Slap!" Master Fatima pulled his hand back. "Silence! Slaves do not ask their masters questions. When we return home, you will be punished." Cinna cradled his reddened cheek and curled up into the carriage seat. "That man was a traitor. He destroyed our home. He destroyed our mother." "Mother," Cinna's voice died quickly as Fatima's hand twitched. The carriage was silent for a long time. After a long, uncomfortable time, the carriage stopped. Fatima left the carriage first and let another younger man pull Cinna out. "Take him to the punishment rooms," Fatima called over his shoulder to the teen holding Cinna's hand. His eyes dismissed the boy like he was nothing. The teen slave carried Cinna in his arms as he walked down a long set of stairs into a basement-like area. It was a huge cavern with a high, large ceiling. The teen's footsteps echoed as he walked down the long hallway. They passed thick metal doorways. The teen went down the line of doors and stopped in front of a particularly dingy one. Cinna was placed in a stone room with only a single window high above his head. The floor was filled with water that skimmed over Cinna's ankles. The walls were covered with thick scratches, and small bloody fingernails were embedded in the stonework. The teen slave that carried him inside latched a thick metal collar around his neck. He wore a similar collar, but it was in much better condition than the scratched metal now around his neck. Water lapped around their ankles as the older boy looped a long chain through the ring on the collar and hung it on a hook high above Cinna's head. "What's your name?" Cinna asked the teen. His eyes searched upwards to connect with the teenaged boy's. "Shush! Punished slaves don't deserve to be talked to," the blue-eyed teen hissed. He yanked on the chain, and it jerked Cinna up as he splashed out of the room. The door slammed shut behind him. Cinna was left in that overwhelming darkness. The chain kept him away from the door, and it was pitch dark inside the tiny cell. The water was cool. Cinna amused himself for a while, splashing in the cool liquid. Hours passed, and Cinna began shivering. His teeth chattered and clicked together. "Hey! I'm very cold. Please let me out!" Cinna heard nothing from beyond the door. He was alone in the dark. In the dark cell, there was no way to tell time. Cinna was confused on if he had been standing in the frozen water for hours or days. He tried clinging to the chain, tying him to the wall, but he could only hold himself up for so long. The chain was rough and cut deeply into his palms. Blood welled up from his hands, and for a while all he could feel was the heat of his body seeping out of his wounds and dripping steadily into the cold water. He felt the walls close in around him. Exhaustion dragged Cinna down until he was huddled against the cold wall and left shuddering in the rippling water. Then the hallucinations started. Cinna thought he heard muffled hissing from beyond the wall. He slammed his eyes shut, fearing the basilisk was coming for him. He whimpered as the cold water curled around his ankles like thousands of writhing, wriggling snakes. He ceased his sobbing and shouts for help. Soon he stopped shivering altogether. The young boy laid quietly in the water as he felt the life seep from his body and heat from his bones. Was this the next great adventure? To die for no reason before I accomplished anything? I wanted to do more with my life. I wanted to live longer this time. Cinna closed his eyes and could only faintly hope that he would open them again.